No intro since I don't want to waste your time, let's get into it. Dealing with D.Va, your main hurdle is a defense matrix. She can absorb your primary fire, railgun, and disruptor shot, especially when you're playing aggressively. However, she can't mark you forever, so if you're on an angle and she's flying onto you, slide away, spam her out, make her wait to DM, and save your railgun. The best strategy against Doomfist is to actively force him out. With just 450 HP, no armor and a sizable hitbox, swing wide to push him out. But be cautious with your disruptor shot, as he can quickly charge an empowered punch off of it. Only use it if you're sure he doesn't have his block ready. Against Queen, she has no verticality, so if you're pushing up to get a good railgun and she chases you, don't just slide back to high ground. The same can be said against Mauga, who you actually have a better matchup into, because he's super easy to farm your railgun off of. Just don't tunnel vision into shooting the Mauga unless he's low. Remember, your value partially does come from your railgun. Honestly, Javelin should be your main concern. It can quickly shut down an OC play if it lands. Consider taking a different angle, increasing the distance and using cover to stay out of Orisa's effective range, making her Javelin harder to hit. Against Ramattra, expect them to vortex your slide, preventing you from kiting back to high ground. To counteract this, either slide back earlier when he's chasing, or slide out of his slow and jump at the last moment to escape the effect. With your railgun charge, it becomes a tactical trade. If Ramattra stays in his Nemesis form, he'll give you free railgun charge. If he switches to Omnic form and puts up his shield, he's basically wasting it just so you don't get a railgun charge. Either way, you gain the advantage. Against Reinhardt, angles on high ground are super annoying for him to deal with. He has no verticality, but he also has no hook, no javelin, no vortex, no queen knife, nothing at all to actually deal with your angle. Just farm his team and don't get too greedy. When facing Roadhog, particularly when he's got his hook, use your disruptor shot on the corner he's holding. This forces him to peek if he wants to hook you, ensuring your shot hits the mark. Keep your distance as a general rule as well. A great example is Sanctum, where you can effectively farm him and his team from high grounds. Against Sigma, you just need to keep moving and rotating. He'll try and shield off your angle, but because his shield is static once placed and is on a cooldown, you can just slide to a different angle to get a shot on his backline. Of course, if he has Flux and you use Power Slide, he might just Flux you. Therefore, consider taking a shallower angle to stay out of his Flux's line of sight. When it comes to Winston, there's not much to add. He'll try and jump you when you take an angle, so slide away, disruptor shot your feet, and shoot him in the face. If he uses his bubble early, fire a disruptor shot at the bubble's edge to stop him from bubble dancing. This forces him to either walk through the disruptor shot, taking a lot of damage, or he'll just back off, giving up the chase. Facing Ball, there's nothing particularly unusual to mention. Just don't go autopilot because he might get an unexpected pile driver onto you, which isn't so good for your prospects of living. Instead, you need to be proactively seeking him out and then sliding away in good time such that he can't get a clean pile driver off. Like Doomfist, Zarya can gain free charge from the disruptor shots, especially if you use it prematurely. Just like Ryan, Zarya struggles to counter you when you're holding a strong, aggressive angle on high ground. Before I continue, just want to plug my coaching. If you want to get it, check the top link in the description. In a one-on-one, you should find it easier to take on Ashe. The key is avoiding her dynamite because if she hits it, then the jewel swings back in her favour. However, because of her big head hitbox and her reduced movement speed while scoped in, it should be easy to land that clinical railgun headshot. Bastion is a non-issue. His big hitbox and reduced move speed and turret all make it easy for you to farm rail off of, and as long as you slide away from his turret form, you should have a fairly easy time. Keep Cassidy at distance. He recently got a range nerf, which emphasizes this point obviously, but it also means that he can't get value out of his flashbang. As long as you duel him past 20 meters, aka the start of his fall off range, he shouldn't be able to do much. Echo only becomes problematic if they dive at you from a different angle and manage to land their stickies unnoticed. Keep them visible and it's practically a free kill for you. If you have a charged railgun when they dive you, the duel should be heavily in your favour. Genjis are simple but not easy to deal with. When they inevitably dash towards you, fire a disruptor shot at your feet, dash away, ideally to high ground, and if you're armed with a charged railgun, just face the Genji. Most of the time, the blue glow from your gun will spook them into using deflect, giving you a shot straight afterwards. With Hanzo, keep sightline short. Although he can't one-shot you anymore, he's still more dangerous at a distance. If he sonics the angle that you plan to take onto him, just abandon it and rotate elsewhere. If he doesn't, that's a free opportunity to go onto him, using your shot to either take him down or to retreat if the duel goes against you. Against Junkrat, don't engage in areas where he's strong, aka in closed spaces. A classic example is King's Row first point by the hotel. Just swing wide and take the high ground instead. Another example, on Blizzard World's second points, he's strong at spamming out the stairs and also spamming out the mega room. Instead, just slide up to the high ground beyond him, which drastically opens up the angle. In an actual game, you're never gonna interact with Mei. She'll be focused on walling your tank, so just find a new angle. On occasion, she might wall off your angle, especially if you pop overclock, but just simply burn through the wall, or you can slide above the wall to maintain your angle. Lastly, you can toss your disruptor shot towards the end of Mei's ice block to guarantee damage. Against Pharah, her main win condition is getting on top of you as quickly and as silently as possible, and sliding away just isn't enough because she can use her dash to chase you. As a result, the best approach is to widen the angle you take against her. This gives you more time to react when she dives at you, allowing you to escape and regroup with your team. Against Reaper, the tip is very simple. When he TPs, disrupt the shot at his feet, pre-fire at his head and slide away. You'll force his Wraith pretty easily. Against yourself, there isn't much to say. Whoever hits more shots will usually win the duel, so take your time and try not to miss. Soldier has more consistent mobility and more consistent sustain over you. He can chip away at your health from a distance, and he can use his heal pad even after tanking a railgun hit. As a result, closing the gap, landing more of those SMG shots, and zoning his biotic field with your disruptor shots can greatly swing the duel in your favour. If Sombra targets you and she's not hacking, quickly slide to high grounds. She can't chase you unless she waits to translocate her, and the slide makes you more elusive, helping you dodge her damage. You're also not bad at spy checking, which can help you prevent her engage entirely. Symmetra is never really gonna duel you. At most, she'll threaten you with TP, in which case, just toss your disruptor shot at it. It'll break any turret bomb she attempts, and it'll deter her from taking the TP. Torb isn't gonna be a problem for you. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, his turret is easy to destroy, and landing a railgun shot onto his large hitbox shouldn't be a challenge. Tracer can be difficult to deal with. She can easily dodge your disruptor shots, railgun, and even your SMG shots. The slide to high ground tip is very useful, but on maps without high grounds, force her to come at you from narrow, long angles. It makes her pathing predictable, and it makes every single one of your abilities easier to hit. Ventress Burrow is pretty telegraphed. However, I actually think it's short-sighted to disrupt a shot her burrow. Even if you're in high grounds, she'll just chase you with her drill dash combo and bypass it anyways. Instead, your best strategy should be to keep as much distance from Venture as possible and to dodge her one-shot combo at all costs. Keep sightline short when facing Widow. Simple as. Don't ego peek her from 50 miles away, because against a good Widow, you'll likely die. Just bait her into playing sightlines that benefit you and hopefully your team, and you should have an easier time. Most of Ana's abilities won't be used to target you. She's often a free target, so the best move is to rotate onto her whenever possible. You can still perform the window one-shot with Baptiste. You'll need some communication or some time for it though, so just call the window in advance when you have full railgun charge. One of the key aspects of Brig's kit is short range angle denial. She can whip you away and pose a threat in close range duels if you get too close. However, a well placed disruptor shot on a corner will force her to back off or at least give up some space. Sojourn and Illari is a classic combo. We saw this in last year's World Cup, particularly from Saudi Arabia, who loved swinging wide with this devastating duo. It's great in ranked, and at least before the Sojourn rollgun nerf, it was great in team play, so I highly recommend giving it a go. As for playing against Illari, because she'll try to place pylons where you can't see them, Disruptor Shot is particularly useful for flushing those out. Kiriko is genuinely a non-issue, at least she tends to be. The best tip I can give is to be patient when landing your railgun shots, mainly because her hitbox is tiny and annoying to hit. With Weaver, if you pressure him, he'll just platform up and your disruptor shot doesn't go through the platform. But you can strategically fire your shots at the edge of the platform to prevent Lifeweaver from peeking. If he does, he'll likely die. One of the biggest threats with Lucio, especially in team play, is getting ran over or sped on by a Lucio Tracer or a Lucio Venture angle. Using sound cues to disrupt the shot early and slide away is pretty important to create distance. Also, if the Lucio charges down main with his tank, it's the perfect opportunity to use Overclock. With the Mercy, you're afforded the luxury to swing wider into deeper, more riskier and aggressive angles. Against Mercy, if you get a pick, disrupt the shot in the body to deter res and the push up afterwards isn't a bad idea. Against Moira, she'll sometimes try to 1v1 you, especially if she's going full TikTok. If she uses Fade, disrupt the shot near her feet to guarantee damage and to try and finish her off. If you do end up missing the railgun and other shots, it's crucial to have some high ground to retreat to in a worst case scenario. Zen's large hitbox and glass cannon design makes him an easy target for you. Similar to Ana and other immobile heroes, abuse your mobility to swing wide and take short silent angles onto him. Anyways, that's it for the video. Check out the Mauga, Venture and Illari versions if you haven't already, and let me know your thoughts down below. Until next time.